Hello and welcome to the Duran News Network School Board Interviews. Today we will be interviewing three school board members that are up for re-election. Today we have Mr. Tappe. Hello, Mr. Tappe.
Hi, Blake. How you doing?
Good. Well, first off, tell us some things about yourself.
Well, I'm married, 3 kids in the school district, resident of town of Duran. Grew up here, veteran of 20 years Navy, and been on the school board for 3 years and been on the county board in the past for about 8 years.
The latest figures indicate that the school district of Duran has a budget deficit of about $614,000. How can we help get rid of this deficit?
Well, I think time is going to tell. There are a lot of aspects. Some of these we're addressing already in closed session. Others, I'm not overly concerned about just yet because there's a lot of things going on in committee at the state level before we get a final determination. We faced a close to $600,000 deficit, 3 years ago. And by the end of the thing, when we got all said and done, it really come out to about a $200,000, $300,000 deficit. So it wasn't quite as big and scary. And we'll be looking at the same things we were looking at then, with some new added initiatives in technology.
All right. So how will the governor's budget proposal impact us?
The proposal itself, I'm not overly concerned with yet. It is still in committee, and already just as of last week, several aspects of the proposal have been changed. Right now, they're talking about adding 150 per student from the state level. They are discussing different aspects to the voucher program, which a lot of people have been talking about. And I'm sure there are some other things. So until we've got some final numbers to deal with, I'm not overly concerned with the proposal. It's been stronger than in the past.
So talk about that extended voucher program and how that'll affect us.
In Durand right now, it's not going to affect us. Because right now in committee, they are looking at only affecting schools with a greater than a 4,000 capacity. How would it affect Durand? Well, it would be a little bit of a little bit with possibly with St. Mary's. But other than that, realistically, within the driving distance, there's not a lot of options. You've got public school and you've got the local Catholic school, and those are your options.
There has been considerable discussion about how to effectively compensate teachers to best address future educator effectiveness. What are your thoughts on this?
I think the strongest form, it depends upon how you define compensation. If your only form of compensation is monetary, then our hands are tied, and if you're in the teaching position to get rich, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you're not going to get rich in the teaching profession. If you want to get rich, you need to go into business and private practice and things along those lines. But other compensation things, there are benefit packages we're continuing to maintain. We are looking at other teacher incentives, that whether it's teacher performance incentives, bonuses, education incentives, things along those lines.
The DPI has several new initiatives and mandates. Can you address which ones will be most important to us?
The ones I think that are the most important to us are going to be the technology initiatives. From the standpoint that it's going to help us with our deficit. We are in a technology world, whether you want to know that. One of the examples is we've recently removed, I believe starting in 2014, the requirement for the half-credit computer class. Okay, and I'm safe to admit that the people I'm surrounded by here know more about computers, cell phones and stuff than I have in my lifetime, and I've done R&D with the military. So there are, there's ways that these technology initiatives, though, can help us maintain class load, improve student retention, whether it's through online education, collaboration with local districts to continue administering certain AP classes, or to even pick up AP classes here from other institutions, whether it's from the university, through whether it's Skype, whether it's, I can't think of the name of it. but it's basically closed circuit television within the classrooms.
If you were elected to the school board, what would your greatest assets be?
I'm a big picture guy, have been since all my life. My military training led to some of that. I bring a balanced approach. I'm looking at it not just from the student standpoint, I'm looking at it from the parent standpoint, I'm looking at it from the landowner standpoint, and I'm going to look at it from the seniors standpoint, which is a large portion of our population here in Putnam County, for those on fixed income, and come up with the best balanced approach that we can.
What is your viewpoint on the credit reduction for graduation, with it currently being at 26?
We are reducing down to 24, if I'm correct. That was just a meeting the other night. That is to facilitate the new DPI incentives, where you have extra study time to provide longer class periods, because we are going to need to go down from 8 to 7 class periods. So that consequently reduces the number of credits that we can get. However, you can still graduate with 26. You'll just have the option of maybe not taking a study hall if you don't need it, and certain of the students will have that option. 24 just being the minimum. It was 22 when I graduated 30 years ago, so, and that was up from 18.
What do you see the school district looking like in 10 years?
In 10 years, and for older viewers out there, you're going to have to look ahead. We need to look at the demographic data. In about 10, I forget the exact statistics, but in 10 to 20 years, by the year 2020, 2030, our world population is going to be such that there will be more people living on this planet than have lived on this planet since the existence of man. That's going to create some unique situations. We need to look to that. We need to look to the technology and where technology is changing. Change is not a bad word, but it's going to happen. The idea is to manage that change and do it to the best of our abilities to continue with a good education that prepares the students for what they're going to be facing 10 to 20 years out. And that's one of the things many people forget, is when we're organizing policies, whether it's on the school board or that, we're not just thinking about the classes graduating this year. We're thinking about the classes starting as kindergartners now, and we need to be looking at what the world's going to look like 10 to 20 years from now, when they're 18 and facing whether they're going to college or starting a job or starting a career. I see a lot more electronics involved. I see a lot more blended education within the classroom, and a higher, at least in the short term, a much higher emphasis on the hard sciences.
Is there anything else you would like to add?
Not at this time. I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to talk to you and to the voting public, and thank you for the opportunity. And I think it's a great classroom. AV has changed a lot in 30 years.
All right then. Thank you, Mr. Tappe, for sharing your views with us today. Good luck with the election.
Thank you, Blake.